No one is really special, not in the way that you mention it. That is just an illusion. Basically, this specialty that you talk about is a moment where you're chosen to be the headline and everything else is background scenario. And when you are the headline, you feel special. I am the center of attention. And when you're not the headline, you're the background person, it's not that important. And that might sound like a bit of a sad thing for some people. And if it does, let it come to your senses that, hey, we have some greed. We want to be the spotlight all the time. It's better to admit that to yourself, because if you live in denial of those things that we call negative, because you know what, we don't even know if this thing is negative. We've been told it's negative to want to be the spotlight. I say, you know what, you want to be the spotlight, be the spotlight. And if while you're trying to be the spotlight, something else happens, then you'll learn another lesson. But if you feel it's natural that you want to be the spotlight all the time, hey, go for it, do it, see where it takes you. All of us human beings, we're trying to be chosen unconditionally. And it could happen, might not happen. And I want you to think about it properly. So many people think very low of themselves. So many people have issues with themselves, accepting themselves unconditionally. Now, how do you think if somebody doesn't accept themselves unconditionally, do you really think they're going to accept you unconditionally? What makes you think that they can or that they should? Do you accept yourself unconditionally? You know what? Since I was a child, I wanted to be special. I wanted to be accepted unconditionally. And I think this is a human thing. We all want that. It's part of our ego. We want to feel that I'm different. And maybe that's the problem, because let's think about it logically. If everyone is special, doesn't that cancel your specialty? And I know some of you might come around and say, oh, everyone's special in their own way. But that's not the way we take it. And you know what? I want you to think about this specialty, especially the one where we're saying it's unconditional all the time. I'm the headline. Now, one thing about life we know for sure, if you've been around for a while, you know that everything gets replaced. How good was Michael Jackson? You know, some of us here, the oldies, will be like, hey, never got, you can't replace him. But look what happened. The new generation don't really care that much. Some of them might be like, yeah, he's okay, he's all right. And here, there's something we need to, let's go much simpler than Michael Jackson. Let's go to our own breathing. How badly do you need to breathe? In that moment where you need to breathe, there's nothing more important than that. You don't feel that because it's become an automatic thing, but that moment where that next breath comes in, I assure you there's nothing more important than it. That breath comes in, you hold it. Doesn't matter how important it was, you're going to have to let it go. And then another breath comes in. It's a new one. Now, that kind of tells you that doesn't matter how important something is, it's going to get replaced. It's going to be forgotten even. And similarly, you know, in our lives, we develop attachments to people. And those attachments become hard to break because we are, in the end of the day, creatures of habit. And it doesn't matter how much something is hard, just give it space, give it time, and you'll see it gets replaced. It has to get replaced because life likes to be fresh. You can make all the noise, the protests, to avoid this kind of reality, but eventually it's going to knock on your door and that old thing creeps out and a new thing must come in. There's a quote I love. It says, die before you die. Of course, it's a symbol. Your role is ending somewhere. When your role is ending there, you should see it. And when you see it, accept it going out. That's you dying before you've died. It doesn't have to be physical. It's you seeing my role is coming to an end. Something is coming to take my role. Okay, you fight for it, but sometimes you notice that it's useless to fight for this, because even you can see that everything is changing. And when everything is changing, the worst thing you can do is just really insist. Why not update yourself? Why not renew yourself and let the new become new you? Just a thought. There is something else. Your specialty. Is it by comparison or is it something else? Let's go back to the story of when I was a kid and I wanted to be special. I wanted to be special. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be different. Look at teenagers. When we're teenagers, we really want to be different. We want new fashion. We want things that shock the old people, the older people. And more than ever, more than anything, you don't just want to be chosen. You want to be chosen for what you value in yourself. But I noticed a pattern. Whenever you do something, you get judged. And the idea of unconditionality, you kind of know it doesn't exist. Because sometimes in life, you'll get glimpses of it. You'll get a friend who you can be absolutely free with. You get a family member you can absolutely be free with. But then as scenarios come around, as new expectations sit in, as new standards are met, eventually some condition settles in. And when it does, some of these relationships die. Because expectations like, okay, now I've got a new thing in my life. Where do you belong there? Okay? And that's a normal thing. It's not a bad thing. And I notice just like other people develop these judgments on me and these expectations, I also develop expectations on others. If you're somebody who's trying to build an empire, an entrepreneurship, or you're somebody who wants to you want to train hard, you're going to have judgment on people or expectations of people who are going to hang around you. You are going to break it. Whatever happens in your life, you could be accepting of that family member who complains a lot of the time. But then you might come to some stress in your life and notice, man, I don't hate this person, but suddenly an expectation arises in you that I can't hang around this person because it doesn't suit who I am right now and what I need to go through. And, sometimes expectations arise because we've invested. Now, very important part here. What does it mean that you've invested? Investing means I've put myself into this thing. I'm putting myself in. And when you do that, you start in a way wanting that thing to represent you. You're now invested in it. You can't just let it be. Think about it like this. When you're young, you want to be special with your family, with your friends. First with your family, and then you get over that and you want your friends. And then you get over that and you want to be like work and colleagues. And then you get over that and you want it to be like a wider society. Or even, lovers. And then you even go on to wanting to be special in the eyes of God or whoever you believe is your higher, if you have a higher belief. And even that is not sustainable, even with God, because you want to be special and then you realize that I get sick, but so do other people. I get cured, so do other people. I get given things and so do other people. And some other people get given more than me. And then you'll notice things I lose, other people can lose more than me. Other people can lose less than me. And then you see people of all types getting everything. Some people you call your enemy. Your religious beliefs might even be like, this person's a bad person, and yet God still cures them. And if you come down to your senses, are you even special at that point? Not in the way that you think. And here, the question is this specialty that you're asking for, is it really that higher power, or is it just your own judgments? Because when you look at someone, you say they have more than me. What does that even mean? They have more than me. How do you know they have more than you? What you have is not about the quantity, it's how you value it. You could have, You could make $1 from a side hustle, and that will bring you more happiness than your thousands of dollars that you make through your routine job. So it's not the quantity, it's the quality. And you don't know. You might say that person has more and they're unhappy, and someone else you think they have less and they're happy. So what does this judgment that you have do? What is it? It's just your own biases. It's what you're missing. You think if somebody has what you're missing, they ought to be happy. And so what you're basically doing is you're projecting your judgments and saying God has the same judgments. Quite a dangerous trait, I do believe. Because once again, specialty can't come through you comparing yourself. It can't, because you do not understand the structure of the psychology of that other person, or whatever it is you're looking at. You don't know the ins and outs of it. You know certain sections, certain parameters, but not every parameter is listed. Look at the world of AI today. We all talk to an AI. Well, I do. And I was thinking, as I'm writing to the AI, that this same AI that's telling me that I'm good and I should do this is telling somebody else to do the same thing, was telling someone else this very similar things. It made me think, is it possible that everything we do mirrors us, just like that one program is mirroring everybody, and everybody feels like this program is giving and taking with you? We're just mirroring. And when it mirrors, it takes on a personality that deals with us, to answer us, and it makes us feel special. But then eventually, the question comes up, if you're making me feel special and that person special, then how special am I? And this is where we need the flip. What if you are special, but not through comparison, rather just through existing? Because these programs, these mirrors, who are they valuing? Who do this constant seeking of approval? Because what is being special? Being special in itself, on an ego point of view, is wrong. You're basically seeking approval, and you're saying, when they give me approval, I feel special. I need you to clap for me. I need you to showcase, accept me in the spotlight. Otherwise, I don't feel special. And the problem is, every time you achieve that next level, you feel like you're still thirsty. Hasn't been quenched. That thirst hasn't been quenched. Because it doesn't matter who approves of you, eventually you get over that approval. When your parents approved of you, you're happy. And then you got to a time where their approval doesn't mean that much. Same thing with your friends. You're like, yeah, obviously my mom is going to approve of me. She's my mom. And one of the things we notice is that specialty, that spotlight, it keeps shifting. So naturally, if it keeps shifting, you can't remain still and remain special. You need to be shifting with it. However, what if ultimately that approval you're looking for is your own approval? You just don't give yourself that grace. You need to approve of yourself, because yourself, you have your outer and you have your inner. I mean, they're connected, obviously, and they're probably the same thing, but we have this division when we are living. And sometimes your inner is not happy with your outer. When we talk about outer, what are we talking about? Personality. Personality is an outer thing. It's not an inner thing, because inside you don't really need that personality. That personality, you look at yourself and think, I should have behaved differently here. I should have behaved differently there. Could be your looks. You're not happy with your looks. I'm not tall enough. I'm not, handsome enough. My face is not overly symmetrical. So you need to accept yourself. You need to give that approval to yourself, because that's ultimately what you're chasing, your own approval. And I say that approval, you can't have it through comparison. That approval can only be had through acceptance. Acceptance of your reality. Acceptance of yourself unconditionally, without judgment, without, I need to change this. No. You need to accept yourself without change. Change comes later. Now, you might say, but why am I special? Just through existence. When you say that, you're actually belittling existence. You're taking that all for granted. Let's look at you. You came into existence. And when you came into existence regardless of anyone's approval. When you were born, there could have been a world war. There could have been a civil war somewhere. There could have been political unrests, economic disasters, earthquakes, droughts, domestic problems. You could be in a neighborhood that was no good. But you were born and you existed regardless of any of those things. Isn't that something to feel special about? Regardless of all this turmoil, you came to exist. And so, could it be that your existence is the thing you need to build on? Your existence is the missing link in the equation of you becoming stronger. Not something from outside, but the approval of yourself. We all want to be special, but maybe we're already sacred just by existing. If this helped you remember that, share it with someone who forgot.